Welcome back, listeners. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to dive in.
All right. So today we're tackling Bitcoin. But there's a twist.
The twists.
Yeah. Our source material is, well, let's just say it's unique. It's a document, but it's basically just the word Bitcoin over and over again.
Oh, wow. That's different. So no charts, no technical analysis, just Bitcoin.
Nope. Just Bitcoin. So the big question is, can we actually learn anything about Bitcoin from this? Like, what can we squeeze out of this Bitcoin echo chamber?
That's a great question. It's like we're trying to find a signal buried in all that noise. It's almost poetic, actually. You know, like how Bitcoin emerged from the background noise of traditional finance.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So we're not going to get into like blockchain mechanics or price predictions today.
Right.
But maybe this bare bones approach can tell us something about Bitcoin's impact. Because, I mean, let's face it, Bitcoin is kind of everywhere. You see it online, in the news, even people just talking about it.
You're absolutely right. It's constantly in our faces. So in a way, this document, as strange as it is, kind of mirrors that. It's like a reflection of how pervasive Bitcoin has become in our collective consciousness.
And maybe it even says something about how Bitcoin is like marketed. It's this simple idea, right? Decentralized digital currency.
Yeah. Easy to grasp, especially compared to, the world of traditional finance, which can feel very, very complicated.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm also thinking, wouldn't this kind of repetition get old?
Yeah.
Like, okay, it grabs your attention, but then doesn't it just become like background noise after a while?
That's the double-edged sword of repetition, right? It can be incredibly effective for awareness, like a marketing mantra. But you're right, it can also lead to fatigue or even skepticism.
Totally. And especially for people who are already like deep into Bitcoin, seeing it reduced to just this one word over and over again, it might feel a little reductive for them.
Yeah, like it's oversimplifying a very complex technology. It's missing all the nuance.
It makes me think about how crypto in general is becoming like memeified.
Interesting.
It's like, is it more about cultural symbolism than actual utility these days?
Yeah.
Is this document, is it just like a weird reflection of that trend? All style, no substance.
That's a really insightful point. And it raises a question about how we define value in this digital age. Like, is a simple repeated message, is that enough to sustain a complex system like Bitcoin? Or does it ultimately need more meat on the bones, more substance?
Right, like real world applications and all that.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we didn't have charts to analyze or white papers to dissect today, but I think we still managed to like uncover some interesting things about Bitcoin just from looking at this page full of Bitcoin, right? We talked about its presence, its marketing, even some of its potential downsides.
We did. It's amazing what you can learn when you really start to analyze, even something as simple as repetition. It forces us to think critically about what's being emphasized and also what's being left out and how all of that shapes our perception of things.
Yeah. And that's a good takeaway for our listeners, too. If a document filled with just the word Bitcoin can get us thinking this much, imagine the power of ideas, whether they're simple or complex, to shape the entire digital world.
Absolutely.
Keep those minds sharp, everyone, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.